Hi, I'm Tammy from the Sterling Heights Public Library, and this is Tammy's Top Shelf. Do you have a pet? Well, according to a recent survey of the National Pet Owners Association, almost 70% of households in the United States do, and that includes our presidents. Today I have a special guest with me, Wendy Popko, who illustrated the book, Meet the Pets, Presidential Animals from A to Z, and it was written by Kathy Collison and Janice Campbell. Welcome, Wendy.
Thank you, Tammy. Thank you for having me.
So I have to ask you about your shirt. I love Snoopy. What's it about?
Well, when I was in elementary, I wasn't really that good at art. I loved it, but everything I drew didn't exactly look like how I wanted it to look. And I remember there was one classmate, her name was Renee, and she could draw Snoopy really well. And I was kind of jealous, not gonna lie. And she says, oh, how about if I show you how to draw Snoopy? And a couple of brief instructions, I was able to get it down, and before you know it, I was drawing Snoopy into every art project that was available to me. And so I felt like it was kind of like a full circle, you know, wearing my Snoopy t-shirt today.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I wanted to talk about your book. This is a great book. It's 26 pages, alphabetical from A to Z, alligator to zebra, right?
Right.
It's got some awesome illustrations, and there's a little poem with each story about each animal. There's different sites around the White House, around Washington, D.C., the National Zoo. So when you were working on this project, how did you get involved in the project?
Well, I worked with Janice Campbell a couple years ago for Hidden Michigan, and she reached out to me. It was kind of like last December for this project. And at first, when I read the email, I just didn't have the time because I was getting ready for Trailblazer, that mural that you see on Ventimiglia.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Thank you. I love that mural. And I was really excited about it, and it's augmented reality, and it has this interactive game element. So my plate was full. And when Janice had reached out to me, I was all set to, tell her I didn't have time for it. And so she called me up, hey, want to discuss this project with you, and I was all set to say no. And she says, you would be perfect for this project, Wendy. Please hear me out. And I'm like, okay, tell me a little bit about it. And so she started telling me it was about animals, dogs and cats and whatnot. And then she brought up, the presidential pets, and I said, okay, let me think about it. Give me 24 hours. And so I went back to my family, and I shared the idea with my kids, and my daughter told me, she goes, yeah, you're doing it. I don't care how busy you are this year, you are doing it. And so I basically told my family, well, I'm going to be really booked up with painting the mural. And now illustrating a book, you're talking about two major projects at the same time. And I told them, I said, well, I'm not doing any laundry, I'm not doing any cooking, I'm not doing any cleaning, I'm not doing anything. This is between the three of you. And they said, sure, we love the project, we want you to do it.
So this was really a family effort.
It was, it definitely was. I could not have done it without their help. And also with the authors, because they did the research of the documents that I decoupaged and painted over. And Kathy, she would meet me at Ventimiglia's early in the morning before Ventimiglia would open, and she would go there to collect the canvases and drive them out to, I think it was like Portland, Michigan, where there's this massive art scanning company, and she would drive it out there and bring the canvases back, spend her day traveling and whatnot, and I could not have done it without her assistance. So it was really a big team effort to get this book completed, and on time too, because timing was everything, because of, with President Biden coming into office and his dogs, and we wanted to capture that in this book.
So Wendy, this is a whole process of creating this book. It's not just like, okay, somebody sits down, writes a book and says, draw some pictures for me. It's much more involved. Could you talk about the process of how this all came together?
Yes, absolutely. So you start off with the manuscript, as you can see here. And the text is kind of broken up into pages roughly. And you can see some of my notes drawn along the way. And then after we start discussing the story, and there's a contract too that you need to sign, I start off with thumbnail sketches. I don't know if you can see that, but basically I laid out the pages of the book. So there's L, M, N, because you need to decide on, do you dedicate just one page per letter or 2 pages per letter? And then roughly where the text is going to go.
Okay.
So you start off with your thumbnail sketches, and then what I like to do is I like to ask the graphic designer to send me the file of the font size and the actual print. And I just print it out on my printer and to the exact size of how it's going to show up in the book. And then I cut it out and tape it on there, and then I illustrate around it. Kind of using my thumbnail as a guide of what I see. And you can see, like right here, I thought, I'm going to have all this space underneath the step for the text.
And you didn't.
I did not. I did not. So I had to find another way to showcase that text, because that is the most important part of illustrating a book, is making sure that your text is clean and clear for the viewer to read.
Great. And then?
So after you complete the sketch, you'll see behind us, this is the painting, right? And you'll notice there's a little bit of a size difference. And the reason for that is I like to enlarge my images a little bit so that when they scan that and download that, it will tighten up a little bit and it'll look cleaner in the book. Okay. So I always like to enlarge my drawings to create the painting, and then when they scan it, shrink it down and tighten it up a little bit better. But this is normally not on the paintings. The only reason why this text is on this canvas is because all of these paintings from this book were entered into Art Prize this past
over
year.
in Grand Rapids.
Yes.
Oh,
so,
wow.
People might look at L or M and say, well,
what is that?
Right. Cat doesn't start with the letter M or L for a dog. So I told the authors, I said, we really need to use your poetry so that when people see the painting,
they understand.
It makes more sense. And so they became part of the team, and we went in as a team for Art Prize. It wasn't just about the visual art, it was the
poetry too.
Right.
And
part
what,
of the written
what
word.
about the hidden, it looks like newspaper kind of behind some of your paintings here.
Yeah. So that was, okay, the authors, they are actually journalists. They worked for the Detroit News, and so this is like their thing.
Okay.
And they researched obviously they had to research all of these animals for writing the story.
And decide on 26 pets. There's more than 26.
Right. And so I told them, I said, for Art Prize, because this was all pre-planned out before we started painting things out, and I said, I would really love to put this on canvas, because to frame out each watercolor piece of paper would cost too much. And I said, if we do canvases, it'll be easier to frame.
Yeah.
A little bit more economical for me.
Yeah.
And they said, okay. And I said, because I wanted to look like an illustrated book still, like my previous books that I've illustrated.
Yeah.
I would like to paint over a smooth surface and do more of a collage. And they said, and I was thinking like using the Declaration of Independence, because we're talking about different administrations.
Right.
And they said, we have all these letters and articles that we pulled up for writing the book, and how about if we get the rights for you to
paint over them? Now, which one was your favorite animals or page to paint to draw for the book?
For Kennedy. So I don't know if you noticed this, Tammy, when you were flipping through the book. Some of the illustrations are done in black and white, and some of them are done in full color.
Yes, but I didn't understand why.
It's to represent the different time periods that those administrations were covered by different media outlets. So older administrations are black and white, and the newer ones are through color.
I want to share my favorite one was Al for Liberty, who was President Ford's dog, our president that came from Michigan. So I wanted to highlight Liberty for my favorite page. So thank you so much, Wendy, for joining me on my Tammy's Top Shelf. It's come back after the pandemic. I really appreciate it. And I also want to share some other titles we've got at the library. All things about pets. So we've got Pet Science, which is a book that kids can use with their pets to kind of do science experiments and activities to find out, why do your pets act the way they do? So that's a fun one. That's in the children's area. We have The Accidental Veterinarian by Philip Schott. He's a veterinarian. He tells lots of little stories. You'll laugh, you'll cry reading his little stories about all of the things that happened to him as a veterinarian. And then we've got some DVDs, our favorite little Wonder Pets. That's a popular series with our kids. And our favorite animal advocate, Betty White, who just passed away, a video called Champion for Animals. So enjoy reading about pets, learning about pets. And for March's Reading Month, make sure you stop by the library to grab your next great read. And don't forget, we'll have Wendy and the authors of Meet the Pets, Presidential Animals from A to Z, will be at the library March 26th, 2 o'clock. We'll see you next time. For more recommendations, visit shpl.net.